Sami was a 9-year-old boy with a wild imagination and hands that were always busy. He wasn't like other kids who spent their time on video games. No, Sami loved to build things. His room was a wonderful mess of wooden blocks, colorful gears, and half-finished inventions. His greatest dream was to build a real flying machine, one that could soar above the clouds. He spent hours sketching designs in his notebook, his brow furrowed in concentration. One sunny afternoon, after a long day at school, Sami slumped onto his bed and opened his backpack to pull out his homework. But instead of his math book, his fingers brushed against something cool and smooth. He pulled it out. It was a key, but not just any key. This one was made of something that looked like crystal, and it pulsed with a soft, warm light, casting a gentle golden glow on his hands. Sami had never seen it before. He was sure he didn't put it in his backpack. Where did it come from? Curiosity, as it always did, got the better of him. He held the key tightly in his palm. The moment his skin touched its glowing surface, the air in his room began to shimmer. The light from the key grew brighter and brighter, expanding until it formed a swirling, rainbow-colored circle right in front of his closet door. It looked like a portal, just like in the science fiction movies he loved. A gentle force started pulling him forward. He felt a mix of fear and excitement bubble up inside him. Holding his breath and clutching the key, Sami stepped through. Whoosh! He felt a dizzying sensation, like sliding down the world's longest, twistiest slide. Colors blurred past him, and a sound like 1,000 wind chimes filled his ears. Then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Sami found himself standing on a street paved with glowing cobblestones. He looked up, and his jaw dropped. He was in a city unlike anything he had ever imagined. Towers made of pure light reached for a sky filled with shimmering stars, even though it felt like daytime. Strange, wingless vehicles zipped silently through the air between the buildings, their paths marked by trails of sparkling dust. And all around him were the friendliest creatures he'd ever seen. They were made of soft, translucent light, some tall and willowy, others round and bouncy. They smiled at him, their voices sounding like gentle music. "Welcome, little builder," a tall, glowing being said, its voice warm and kind. "We are the Lumina. We've been waiting for you." Sami was speechless. "Waiting? For me? But how?" The Lumina chuckled, a sound like tinkling bells. "The key of creation chose you, Sami. It senses the heart of a true inventor." It gestured toward the city. "This is Lumina, the city of light, a place built on imagination and dreams." Sami's eyes widened. "The key of creation?" He looked down at the glowing key still in his hand. "Yes," another, smaller Lumina bounced forward. "It allows the worthy to enter our world and helps them build their greatest dreams." Sami couldn't believe it. This was everything he had ever wanted. A Lumina guided him to a huge, open-air workshop. It was filled with tools that hummed with energy and materials that shimmered with every color of the rainbow. "Here," the Lumina said, "you can build anything your heart desires." Sami's mind went straight to his biggest dream, his flying machine. He pulled out his notebook, the pages filled with his sketches. The Lumina looked over his shoulder. "Ah, a sky sailor, a fine choice. But in Lumina you don't need engines or fuel. You only need your feelings." This puzzled Sami. "My feelings?" The Lumina led him to a garden nearby. The plants were beautiful, with flowers that pulsed with light. As Sami stepped into the garden, feeling a surge of joy and excitement, the flowers around him began to change color, shifting from a calm blue to a vibrant, happy yellow. "See?" the Lumina explained. "Our city responds to emotion. Your joy, your focus, your courage, that is your power here." Sami understood. He went back to the workshop, his heart pounding with excitement. He picked up a sheet of light metal, which felt warm and weightless. He started to build, not just with his hands, but with his whole heart. He poured all his passion for flight into his creation. When he felt a moment of doubt, the metal would flicker and dim. He remembered the Lumina's words, took a deep breath, and focused on the thrill of soaring through the sky. The metal glowed brightly once more. Slowly, his flying machine took shape. It didn't look like an airplane. It had elegant curved wings that looked like they were spun from starlight and a smooth, open cockpit where he could sit. It had no engine, no propellers, just a small slot in the center of the control panel. The key, Sami whispered to himself. He inserted the key of creation into the slot. The entire machine lit up, humming with a powerful, happy energy. It floated an inch off the ground. With a whoop of joy, Sami climbed in. He placed his hands on the controls, closed his eyes, and imagined himself flying. He pictured himself weaving through the light towers, waving to the lumina below. A wave of pure happiness washed over him. The sky sailor lifted off the ground, smooth and silent. He opened his eyes. He was flying. He zoomed through the city, the wind whipping through his hair. He soared past the glowing buildings and looped around the sparkling star-filled sky. Below, the lumina cheered for him, their light flashing in celebration. It was more incredible than he had ever dreamed. He wasn't just flying. He was a part of the light, a part of the city's magic. After what felt like hours of joyful flight, Sami guided his sky sailor back to the workshop. The tall lumina was waiting for him. "You are a natural, Sami. You have the heart of a true creator." Sami beamed, his cheeks flushed with excitement. "This is the best day of my life! Can I stay here forever?" The lumina smiled gently. "Lumina will always be here for you. The key will bring you back whenever your heart needs to build. But your world needs creators too. Go back and share the light you've found. Build wonderful things there, just as you have here." Sami knew the lumina was right. He had friends and family back home he missed. And now, he felt more inspired than ever. He hugged the lumina, a strange and wonderful feeling of hugging pure warmth. "Thank you," he said. He held the key, and with a final look at the beautiful city, he thought of his bedroom. The rainbow portal swirled open before him. He stepped through, and with another gentle whoosh, he was back in his room. The portal vanished, leaving only the faint scent of starlight in the air. His sky sailor wasn't there, but the glowing key was still in his hand, now pulsing with a soft, steady rhythm, like a sleeping heart. His room was just as he left it, with his half-finished projects and his scattered drawings. But something inside Sami had changed. He felt braver, more confident, and filled with a new kind of magic. He looked at his messy desk, not with frustration, but with excitement. He knew that the City of Light was real and that he could go back. But more importantly, he knew that the real magic wasn't just in a glowing key or a fantasy city. It was in his own heart, his own hands, and his own unstoppable imagination. And he couldn't wait to see what he would build next. From that day on, Sami's inventions became even more amazing. He never told anyone about the City of Light, but every now and then, when he held the crystal key, he could feel its warmth and remember the day he learned to fly with his feelings. And he knew his greatest adventures were only just beginning.